A 10-year-old girl quietly walked into the hospital carrying a baby in her arms. When the truth about the baby's identity came to light, tears welled up in the eyes of everyone present. It was early morning, and the first rays of sunlight had just begun to break over the horizon. The automatic doors of San Rafael General Hospital opened, letting in a cool breeze mixed with the scents of fresh coffee and disinfectant that lingered in the hallways. The morning staff had only just begun their shifts. Nurse Lucia Mendoza, a veteran with 15 years of experience, stood at the reception desk. She was engrossed in reviewing the files from the previous night, sipping on coffee that was still too hot to fully enjoy. She thought it might be another uneventful day, but little did she know, a life-changing encounter awaited her. The sound of hurried footsteps made her look up. She assumed it would be a colleague running late or an early patient. Instead, what she saw froze her in place. A young girl, no older than 10, entered the hospital. Her brown hair was messy and she wore a simple cotton t-shirt and shorts that appeared to have been put on in a hurry. But what caught Lucia's attention most was the small bundle the girl clutched tightly in her arms. "Sweetheart, are you okay?" Lucia asked, stepping out from behind the desk. The girl's frightened eyes darted toward her but said nothing at first. Her arms trembled as she held the baby closer to her chest. I was told to come here," the girl whispered, her voice shaky. Lucia approached cautiously, speaking gently. "It's okay, honey. You're safe here. Can I see what you're carrying?" Slowly and carefully, Lucia pulled back the edge of the blanket, revealing the tiny, peaceful face of a newborn baby. Her heart skipped a beat. The baby appeared to be sleeping, blissfully unaware of the situation. Lucia quickly called out to her colleague, "Carmen, I need help here." Carmen, a young nurse in her second year, rushed over, and her face immediately reflected her shock. "Oh my God," Carmen gasped. "Call Dr. Ramirez," Lucia instructed Entorcio, "and get a stretcher quickly." Lucia knelt to the girl's level, trying to calm her. "What's your name, sweetheart?" she asked softly. "Anna," the girl replied after a moment, her voice barely audible. "Anna, you're very brave for coming here," Lucia said, her voice warm and reassuring. "Can you tell me what happened?" Tears welled up in Anna's eyes as she looked down at the baby in her arms. I don't know. I woke up and he was there. It hurt so much." Lucia's chest tightened at Anna's words. Years of experience told her this situation was far more complicated than it seemed. But for now, the priority was keeping Anna calm. "It's okay, honey," Lucia said gently. "You don't need to explain anything right now. We're going to take care of you and the baby." Moments later, Carmen returned with a stretcher, followed by Dr. Ramirez, a middle-aged man with a composed demeanor. "What do we have here?" he asked, quickly assessing the scene. Lucia kept her tone professional. "Anna, approximately 10 years old, arrived with a newborn a few minutes ago. She's confused and in pain." Dr. Ramirez nodded, his expression serious yet calm. He crouched slightly to meet Anna's eyes. "Hello, Anna. I'm Dr. Ramirez. We're going to take care of you and the baby. Would you mind lying down on the stretcher so we can help you?" Anna hesitated, her grip on the baby tightening. "You won't take him away from me, will you?" she asked, her voice trembling. The doctor exchanged a quick glance with Lucia before reassuring her. "No, Anna. The baby will stay with you. We just want to make sure you're both okay." Gently, they helped Anna onto the stretcher. She winced in pain as she moved, confirming Lucia's worst fears. As the group made their way down the hallway, whispers and astonished looks from the hospital staff followed them. But the medical team ignored the attention, focusing solely on Anna and the baby. "Anna," Lucia said softly, "is there anyone we can call? Your parents?" Anna shook her head, her gaze fixed on the baby. "I don't know." I don't want them to be mad at me. Dr. Ramirez frowned slightly but maintained his calm tone. Don't worry about that right now, Anna. The most important thing is that you're here, and we're going to help you. Once in the examination room, the team worked swiftly. Carmen prepared the area while Lucia helped Anna settle into the bed. Dr. Ramirez approached gently. Anna, he said, we need to check on the baby. Is it okay if Lucia holds him for a moment? Anna hesitated but eventually nodded, her tired eyes never leaving the baby as Lucia carefully took him into her arms. Anna hesitated, her arms tightening protectively around the small bundle in her grasp. Lucia stepped closer, her voice soft and reassuring. I'll stay right here with you, sweetheart. You can watch everything we do. We just want to make sure the baby is healthy. After a long moment, Anna gave a small nod. With infinite care, Lucia gently took the baby from Anna's arms. The little one stirred slightly but didn't wake. It's a boy, Lucia murmured, examining the newborn with her trained eye. He looks like he's only a few hours old. Dr. Ramirez, standing nearby, nodded thoughtfully, making mental notes. Carmen, prepare for a full examination of the baby. Lucia, stay with Anna. I'll ask her a few questions, and I'll need your support. While Carmen carried the baby to a nearby examination table, Dr. Ramirez sat down beside Anna's bed. His expression was kind, though his eyes reflected a deep concern. Anna, he began gently, I know this is hard, but I need to ask you a few questions so we can help you. Is that okay? Anna nodded hesitantly, her gaze locked on the baby as Carmen carefully examined him. Can you tell me how you got to the hospital this morning? Dr. Ramirez asked. I walked, Anna replied, her voice uncertain. It wasn't too far. Did anyone bring you here or tell you to come? He continued. Anna hesitated before answering. A lady on the street. She saw me and told me I should come to the hospital. Lucia and Dr. Ramirez exchanged a quick glance, the story becoming increasingly complex. Anna, Dr. Ramirez said gently, do you know how the baby came to you? The young girl frowned, her confusion evident. I woke up and he was there. It hurts. A lot. Did I do something wrong? Lucia's heart ached at the question. She reached out and took Anna's hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. No, sweetheart. You didn't do anything wrong. We're here to help you. Dr. Ramirez took a deep breath before continuing. Anna, I need to examine you to understand why you're in pain. Is that okay? Anna nodded reluctantly, her fear visible in her wide eyes. Lucia stayed by her side, holding her hand and murmuring soothing words as Dr. Ramirez conducted a preliminary examination. The tension in the room was palpable. Meanwhile, Carmen finished examining the baby and rejoined them. Her professional demeanor masked her shock. The baby seems to be in good condition, she reported quietly. He'll need more tests, but his vital signs are stable. Dr. Ramirez nodded grimly, his expression serious as he completed Anna's initial examination. He stood and exchanged a meaningful look with the nurses. Anna, he said gently, we're going to take very good care of you and the baby. We'll need to run some more tests and you'll probably need to stay here for a while. Do you understand? Anna nodded again, though it was clear she didn't fully grasp the situation. Can I see the baby now? She asked in a small voice. Of course, Lucia replied, gesturing for Carmen to bring the baby over. As Carmen placed the baby in Anna's arms, Dr. Ramirez leaned toward Lucia and spoke in a low voice. We need to contact social services and the authorities. We'll also need a team for more detailed exams. This is going to be a challenging case. Lucia nodded, her heart heavy. I'll stay with her, she said, watching Anna as the girl cradled the baby with a mix of confusion and tenderness on her face. Dr. Ramirez left the room, already planning the next steps. Lucia sat down beside Anna, who gazed at the baby in her arms with wonder. "He's so small," Anna murmured. "Yes, he is," Lucia replied softly. "You've been so brave, Anna. We're here to help you, okay? You're not alone." Anna looked up at Lucia, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. "I'm scared," she whispered. Lucia felt her heart break. "I know, sweetheart," she said gently, "but you're safe here. I promise." As the sun continued to rise, its golden light filled the room, casting a warm glow on Anna and the baby. In that moment, amidst the uncertainty and fear, there was a fragile sense of hope. Lucia remained at Anna's side, holding her hand and offering the quiet comfort that came with years of experience. She knew the road ahead would be challenging for the little girl, but in this moment, her only priority was to be Anna's anchor in a world that had suddenly turned upside down. Outside the room, the hospital was alive with activity. Doctors and nurses hurried through the halls, some casting curious glances toward the closed door. Whispers spread among the staff, rumors buzzing about the unusual situation that had just unfolded. Dr. Ramirez returned after what felt like an eternity. His face was calm, though tension lingered in his eyes. As he entered the room, he approached Anna's bed with a gentle tone. "Anna, we've prepared a special room for you and the baby. It's quieter and more private. Would it be okay if we moved you there? It'll be more comfortable for both of you." Anna glanced at Lucia, seeking reassurance. Lucia smiled warmly and nodded. "I'll stay with you the whole time, sweetheart." Carefully, the medical team transferred Anna and the baby to a private room in the pediatric wing. The room was decorated with soft colors and cheerful artwork on the walls, designed to make young patients feel at ease. Once Anna and the baby were settled, Dr. Ramirez sat down beside her bed. "Anna," he began gently, "there are some people who will come to talk to you soon. They're here to help and make sure you're safe. Is that okay?" Anna nodded, though her confusion was evident. "Why is everyone so worried?" she asked softly. "Did I do something wrong?" Dr. Ramirez took her small hand in his and spoke with kindness. "No, Anna, you haven't done anything wrong. But something serious has happened and we need to understand what so we can help you and the baby." At that moment, a social worker named Elena entered the room. Her expression was a mix of compassion and professionalism as she approached Anna. "Hello, Anna," she said gently. "I'm Elena. I'm here to help and make sure you're taken care of. Is it okay if I sit and talk with you for a little while?" Anna looked at Elena, then at Dr. Ramirez and Lucia, before giving a small nod. Lucia offered her a reassuring smile and gave her hand a comforting squeeze. Elena sat down beside the bed, her voice calm and soothing. "Anna, can you tell me a little about yourself? How old are you?" "I'm 10, Anna said quietly, nervously fiddling with the blanket wrapped around the baby. Elena nodded encouragingly. "And do you live with your parents?" Anna lowered her gaze, her voice dropping to barely a whisper. "With my mom and my stepfather." Dr. Ramirez and Lucia exchanged a quick glance but kept their expressions neutral. "Do you know where they are now?" Elena asked gently. Anna shook her head, her eyes welling with tears. "I don't want them to come. They'll be really mad." Elena leaned forward slightly, her voice filled with understanding. "Anna, no one here is mad at you. We're all worried because we care about you and want to help. Can you tell me why you think they'd be angry?" Anna stayed silent for a moment, her eyes fixed on the sleeping baby in her arms. When she finally spoke, her voice was almost inaudible. "Because I brought the baby here. It was supposed to be a secret." A heavy silence filled the room, the weight of Anna's words sinking in. The adults exchanged subtle, concerned looks, as the implications became clearer. Sensing the rising tension, Lucia spoke softly. "Anna, sweetheart, are you hungry? I can get you something to eat if you'd like." Anna nodded slowly, grateful for the change in subject. "Yes, please." As Lucia left the room to fetch food, Dr. Ramirez turned to Elena and spoke in a low voice. "We need to run more detailed tests, both on Anna and the baby, and we'll have to contact the authorities." Elena nodded, her face somber. "I agree. I'll begin the necessary procedures. But right now, the most important thing is for Anna to feel safe and supported." Dr. Ramirez returned his attention to Anna, who was gazing down at the baby with a mix of curiosity and concern. He spoke gently. "Anna, we're here to help you and the baby. You're not alone in this." Dr. Ramirez looked at Anna with gentle eyes. "We're going to do a few more tests to make sure you and the baby are healthy. Is it okay if we bring in some specialists to check on you?" Anna's eyes filled with fear. "Will it hurt?" she asked softly. "We'll do everything we can to make sure it doesn't hurt," Dr. Ramirez replied, his voice reassuring. "Lucia or I will be with you the whole time if you want." Just then, Lucia returned with a tray of food. The aroma of warm soup and fresh bread filled the room, momentarily easing the tense atmosphere. "Look, Anna," Lucia said with a kind smile. "I've brought you something to eat. Why don't you try some soup while we talk?" Anna nodded, allowing Lucia to place the tray in front of her. Gently, Lucia took the baby into her arms so Anna could eat more comfortably. As Anna ate slowly, Elena resumed speaking in a soft tone, carefully asking questions without overwhelming her. "Anna, can you tell me how you felt when you first saw the baby?" Elena asked. Anna paused, putting down her spoon. Her gaze shifted to the tiny baby, peacefully resting in Lucia's arms. "I was scared," she admitted. "I didn't know what to do. But I also thought he was cute." Elena nodded with understanding. "It's completely normal to feel scared in a situation like this. You did the right thing by coming to the hospital." Anna hesitated before asking in a trembling voice, "What's going to happen now? Are you going to take me home?" Dr. Ramirez gently intervened. "For now, Anna, you'll stay here at the hospital. We need to make sure you're completely okay before we decide what happens next. Does that sound all right?" Anna nodded again, though it was clear the uncertainty worried her. Noticing her unease, Lucia leaned in with a warm smile. "Anna, have you thought of a name for the baby?" she asked, softly rocking him in her arms. Anna blinked in surprise. "Can I name him?" "Of course," Lucia replied with a smile. "Do you have any ideas?" Anna thought for a moment, her face softening as she gazed at the baby. "Maybe Miguel," she said quietly. "Like the Archangel. So he can protect him." The adults in the room exchanged glances, moved by the tenderness and innocence of her words. "Miguel is a beautiful name," Elena said warmly. "I'm sure it will suit him perfectly." As the conversation in the room continued, Dr. Ramirez stepped out into the hallway, where Dr. Sanchez, the head of pediatrics, was waiting with a serious expression. "What's the situation?" Dr. Sanchez asked quietly. Dr. Ramirez sighed deeply. "It's worse than we initially thought. The girl, Anna, is only 10 years old. The baby seems to be a newborn. This is a case of severe child abuse." Dr. Sanchez closed his eyes for a moment, processing the gravity of the situation. "My God," he whispered. "Have you contacted the authorities?" "The social worker is handling it," Dr. Ramirez replied. "We also need a specialized team for further tests and psychological support for Anna." "Of course," Dr. Sanchez assured him. "Whatever resources you need, we'll make it happen." This case is a priority. Inside the room, Ana had finished eating and was once again holding baby Miguel in her arms. Lucia sat beside her, watching with a mix of admiration and sorrow as the young girl gently stroked the baby's cheek. "He's so tiny," Ana murmured. "Will he grow soon?" Lucia smiled tenderly. "Yes, he'll grow very quickly. Babies grow so fast. It's amazing." Ana frowned slightly, a hint of worry crossing her face. "What will happen to him? Will he stay with me?" Elena, who had been observing quietly, spoke up gently. "Ana, there are a lot of things we need to figure out first. But for now, the most important thing is that you and Miguel are healthy and safe. We'll make sure you both receive the best care possible." Ana nodded slowly, though the uncertainty still lingered in her eyes. Sensing her discomfort, Lucia decided to lighten the mood. "Ana, would you like me to read you a story? We have lots of nice books here." Ana glanced up at Lucia and gave a small nod. "Okay," she said softly, her voice fragile but trusting. Ana's eyes lit up slightly at the suggestion. "Can you read me a story about angels? Like Miguel?" Lucia smiled warmly, grateful for the chance to bring a small sense of comfort and normalcy to the girl amidst the confusion. "Of course, sweetheart. Let me see what I can find," she said as she left to find a suitable book. While Lucia stepped out, Dr. Ramirez returned to the room. His expression was serious but kind as he knelt beside Ana's bed. "Ana," he began gently, "we'll need to run some tests on you soon. But before we do, is there anything you need? Something that would make you feel more comfortable?" Ana thought for a moment, her voice shy when she finally spoke. "Can I have a stuffed animal for Miguel?" Dr. Ramirez's heart sank at the innocence of her request, a stark contrast to the weight of the situation. "Of course, Ana. I'll make sure Miguel has a stuffed animal," he said softly, his tone filled with compassion. As the day unfolded, the hospital bustled with activity. Specialists, additional nurses, and social workers arrived to support Ana and Miguel. The police discreetly interviewed staff out of Ana's sight, piecing together details of the case. Inside the room, however, the atmosphere remained calm. Ana listened attentively as Lucia read a story about guardian angels, her soft voice filling the room. Baby Miguel rested peacefully in a small crib beside the bed, a newly gifted teddy bear sitting on the bedside table, as if watching over him. Despite the calm scene, every adult involved knew this was just the beginning of a long and difficult road ahead. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm, golden glow over the room, Ana finally drifted off to sleep, exhausted by the emotional toll of the day. Lucia sighed quietly, mentally bracing herself for the days to come. This case, she knew, would leave a lasting impression on everyone involved. For now, her focus was on ensuring Ana felt safe and protected. The first day was ending, but the story of Ana and Miguel was only beginning. As night enveloped San Rafael General Hospital, a quiet determination settled over the staff. They were committed to helping this little girl and her baby, no matter the challenges that lay ahead. The next morning dawned gray and rainy, as if the sky reflected the seriousness of the events unfolding within the hospital walls. In Ana's room, the dim light filtered through the curtains, revealing Lucia expertly changing Miguel's diaper. Ana stirred, blinking groggily as she sat up in bed. Slowly, the memories of the previous day came rushing back. "Good morning, sweetheart." Lucia greeted her with a kind smile. "How are you feeling today?" Ana shrugged, her voice still raspy with sleep. "I'm okay, I guess. How's Miguel?" "He's perfect," Lucia replied, lifting the baby so Ana could see him. "He's a very strong and healthy boy." Just then, Dr. Ramirez entered the room accompanied by Elena, the social worker, and a woman Ana didn't recognize. "Good morning, Ana," Dr. Ramirez said warmly. "I hope you were able to get some rest." There are a few people who would like to talk to you today. Is that okay? Anna nodded timidly, her eyes darting between the adults with visible apprehension. The unfamiliar woman stepped forward, her kind expression and soft voice instantly putting Anna somewhat at ease. Hello, Anna. My name is Dr. Martinez. I'm a child psychologist, and I'm here to talk with you and help you understand everything that's going on. Is it okay if we chat for a little while? Anna nodded again, though her nervousness was evident. Sensing her discomfort, Lucia gently stepped in. Would you like to hold Miguel while you talk to Dr. Martinez? She offered. Anna's eyes brightened slightly and she held out her arms eagerly. Lucia carefully placed the baby in Anna's lap, making sure they were both comfortable. Dr. Martinez sat beside the bed, her voice calm and soothing. Anna, I know all of this must be very confusing and maybe even a little scary for you, she began gently. I want you to know that we're here to help, and you can talk to us about anything that's worrying you. Anna looked down at baby Miguel in her lap, her small hand gently stroking his tiny cheek. Though she was still nervous, the warmth and kindness of the people around her began to ease some of her fears. Anna sat silently for a moment, her fingers absently playing with the blanket wrapped around baby Miguel. Finally, in a barely audible voice, she asked, When can I go home? The adults in the room exchanged quick, uneasy glances. It was Elena who responded gently. Anna, for now, the most important thing is to make sure you're completely healthy and safe. We'll need you to stay here at the hospital a little longer. Is that okay? Anna frowned, clearly unhappy with the answer. But what about my mom? Does she know I'm here? Dr. Ramirez stepped closer, his voice calm and reassuring. Anna, we've been trying to contact your family, but before we do that, we need to understand exactly what happened. Can you tell us more about how Miguel came to you? Anna lowered her gaze, her eyes fixed on the baby in her arms. When she finally spoke, her voice was a faint whisper. I don't know. I woke up and he was there. Dr. Martinez, the child psychologist, leaned in slightly, her tone soothing but firm. Anna, I know this is very hard, but it's important that you tell us the truth. You're not in trouble, I promise. We just want to help you. Anna remained silent, the weight of the question visibly overwhelming her. Lucia, noticing her distress, moved closer and gently took Anna's free hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. It's okay, sweetheart. Lucia, it's why I call him We're here for you. Finally, Anna looked up, her eyes brimming with tears. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't understand what was going on. It hurt a lot, and I was scared. The silence that followed was heavy, filled with a mix of sorrow and anger. Dr. Ramirez closed his eyes briefly, taking a deep breath to compose himself. Anna, he said gently, I need to ask you some more questions. They might be difficult, but it's very important that you answer truthfully. Can you do that for me? Anna nodded slowly, her arms tightening protectively around Miguel. Dr. Ramirez's voice softened further. Did someone hurt you, Anna? Did someone touch you in a way that made you feel uncomfortable or scared? Tears began streaming down Anna's cheeks as she nodded silently. Elena, her voice trembling with emotion but still calm, asked softly, Can you tell us who it was, sweetheart? Anna squeezed her eyes shut as though trying to block out a painful memory. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely audible. My stepfather. The revelation hit the room like a thunderclap. Lucia stifled a sob, her own eyes filling with tears. Dr. Ramirez clenched his fists, fighting to control the anger rising within him. Elena and Dr. Martinez exchanged grave, knowing looks, understanding that the situation had just become far more complex. Dr. Martinez spoke softly, but firmly, her voice full of compassion. Anna, you were very brave to tell us this. I want you to know that none of what happened is your fault. None of it." Anna's tear-filled eyes searched the room desperately. "Really? But I didn't say anything. I didn't ask for help." Elena leaned in, her tone gentle but resolute. "It's not your responsibility to ask for help in a situation like this, Anna. You are a child. The adults in your life should have protected you." Dr. Ramirez, having regained his composure, approached Anna's bedside. "Anna, we'll need to run a few more tests to make sure you're completely healthy. Is it okay if we bring in a special doctor to examine you?" Anna nodded timidly, though her fear was evident. Lucia, sensing her anxiety, spoke up. "I'll be with you the whole time, sweetheart. I promise." Anna's voice wavered as she looked down at Miguel. "And Miguel? Will he stay with me?" Dr. Ramirez crouched to meet her gaze. "Miguel will stay right here in the room with you. We won't take him anywhere without telling you first." As the medical team prepared for the examinations, Dr. Martinez stayed close to Anna, speaking softly to help her process what was happening. "Anna, I know all of this feels overwhelming," she said gently. "But I want you to know how incredibly strong you are. You've been through something very difficult, but you're here, taking care of Miguel. That shows so much courage." Anna glanced down at Miguel, her small hand gently stroking his tiny cheek. Though the fear in her eyes hadn't completely disappeared, there was a faint glimmer of determination as she held him close, drawing strength from the little life in her arms. Dr. Martinez smiled gently at Anna. "That shows how brave and caring you are." Anna looked down at Miguel, a small smile forming on her lips. "It's just, he's so tiny. He needs someone to take care of him." "And you're doing a wonderful job," Dr. Martinez assured her. "But now, it's time for us to take care of you too, okay?" At that moment, a new doctor entered the room. Her face was kind, and her voice soft as she introduced herself. "Hello, Anna. I'm Dr. Lopez. I'm going to run a few tests to make sure you're completely healthy. Is it okay if we get started?" Anna nodded, though her body visibly tensed. Lucia moved closer, offering her hand for Anna to hold. "I'm right here with you, sweetheart," Lucia murmured. "Everything is going to be okay." While Dr. Lopez conducted the exams, Dr. Ramirez stepped out of the room to meet with the legal and social services team that had assembled in the hospital's conference room. The atmosphere was tense. Detective Gomez, leading the investigation, broke the silence first. "This is a clear case of child abuse and assault," he said, his voice tight with anger. "We need to act quickly to protect Anna and the baby." Mrs. Rodriguez, the representative from social services, nodded solemnly. "We've begun the process to remove Anna from her mother's custody. It's clear her mother either couldn't or wouldn't protect her." "What do we know about the mother?" "We haven't located her yet," Detective Gomez replied, frustration evident in his tone. "But we have a warrant out for the stepfather's arrest, and we're doing everything we can to track him down." As the adults discussed the legal and procedural steps back in Anna's room, Dr. Lopez finished her examination. "You've been very brave, Anna," she said kindly. "We're all done for now." Anna visibly relaxed, leaning back against the pillows. Lucia handed her a glass of water, which Anna accepted gratefully. After taking a sip, Anna asked timidly, "Am I sick?" Dr. Lopez shook her head gently. "You're not sick, Anna, but your body has been through a lot. We'll make sure you get all the care you need to recover fully." Just then, Miguel began to cry softly from his crib. Anna leaned toward him immediately, her face full of concern. "I think he's hungry," she said, looking at Lucia uncertainly. Lucia smiled and moved toward the crib. "You're probably right. It's time for his feeding. Would you like to help me feed him?" Anna's eyes lit up with excitement. "Can I?" "Of course," Lucia replied, preparing a bottle. "I'll show you how to do it." As Lucia guided Anna on how to hold and feed Miguel, Dr. Martinez observed the moment with a mix of admiration and sadness. Despite everything Ana had endured, her natural care for Miguel and their strong bond were undeniable. "You're doing great, Ana," Dr. Martinez said encouragingly. "Miguel is lucky to have you." Ana smiled shyly, her eyes focused on Miguel as he eagerly fed from the bottle. "He's easy to love," she murmured. The tender moment was interrupted by the return of Dr. Ramirez and Elena. Their serious expressions didn't go unnoticed by Ana, who immediately tensed. "What's happening?" she asked, her voice laced with fear. "Are they going to take Miguel away?" Elena quickly stepped forward to reassure her. "No, Ana. Miguel is staying here with you for now. But there are some things we need to talk about." Dr. Ramirez knelt beside Ana's bed, his tone gentle but firm. "Ana, based on what you've told us and the results of the tests, we've had to inform the authorities about your situation." Ana's eyes widened in panic. "The police? But I didn't do anything wrong. Did I?" "No, sweetheart, you haven't done anything wrong," Elena said firmly. "The police are here to help protect you and Miguel." Ana's voice trembled slightly as she asked, "And my mom? Does she know I'm here?" The room fell silent for a moment before Elena carefully replied, "We're trying to contact your mom, Ana, but for now, the most important thing is making sure you and Miguel are safe and cared for." Ana seemed to process Elena's words carefully, her gaze dropping to Miguel, who was now sleeping peacefully in her arms. When she spoke again, her voice was barely above a whisper. "Am I going to have to go back home?" The question sent a wave of pain through every adult in the room. Dr. Martinez was the one to answer, her voice soft and full of compassion. "No, Ana. You're not going back to that house. We're going to find a safe place for you and Miguel." Ana nodded slowly, a mixture of relief and fear crossing her face. Can we stay together? Miguel and me?" Elena and Dr. Ramirez exchanged a glance. It was a complicated question, tied up in legal and ethical challenges. Elena knelt beside her. "We'll do everything we can to keep you together," she promised. But everyone in the room knew the reality was far more uncertain. The rest of the day passed in a blur of activity. Police officers came and went discreetly, gathering information, while hospital staff worked tirelessly to care for Ana and Miguel. By mid-afternoon, Detective Gomez requested to speak with Ana. Dr. Ramirez and Dr. Martinez exchanged concerned looks. "Is it really necessary?" Dr. Ramirez asked. "Ana has already been through so much today." Detective Gomez nodded solemnly. "I understand your concern, Doctor, but we need her statement to proceed with the case. I promise to be as gentle as possible." Dr. Martinez stepped forward. "I'll be present during the interview," she said firmly, "and if I see Ana becoming too distressed, we'll stop immediately." Reluctantly, Dr. Ramirez agreed. The group entered Ana's room where she was sitting on the bed, holding Miguel while Lucia taught her how to change his diaper. "Ana," Dr. Ramirez began softly, "there's someone here who needs to ask you a few questions. He's a police officer, but you don't have to be afraid. Dr. Martinez and I will be here with you the whole time." Ana looked at the detective with apprehension, her arms instinctively tightening around Miguel. Detective Gomez approached with a kind smile. "Hello, Ana. I'm Detective Gomez. I know today has been very hard for you, but I need to ask you a few questions about what happened. Is that okay?" Ana nodded slowly, her eyes flickering between the detective and Dr. Martinez for reassurance. "All right," Detective Gomez said, sitting near the bed. "Ana, can you tell me a little about your life at home? Who do you live with?" Ana swallowed hard before replying. "With my mom and my stepfather." "And what's it like living with them?" the detective asked gently. Ana lowered her gaze, her fingers nervously playing with Miguel's blanket. Sometimes it's hard. My stepfather gets angry a lot." Does he get angry with you? Detective Gomez pressed carefully. Anna nodded, tears pooling in her eyes. Yes. He says I'm a bother. That I shouldn't have been born. Dr. Martinez reached for Anna's hand, offering silent support. The detective continued. Anna, can you tell me about the night Miguel was born? Do you remember what happened? Anna's body tensed as she squeezed her eyes shut, clearly trying to push back a painful memory. When she spoke, her voice was barely audible. It hurt a lot. I was really scared. I called for my mom, but she wasn't home. My stepfather came into my room and... Her words trailed off and she couldn't continue. Detective Gomez exchanged a glance with Dr. Martinez before speaking again, his tone even softer. It's okay, Anna. You've been very brave. Can you tell me what happened after Miguel was born? Anna took a deep breath, her eyes fixed on Miguel as she held him tightly. My stepfather left. He told me not to say anything that was like, do not say that it was a secret. But I was so scared and Miguel wouldn't stop crying. So I ran away and came to the hospital. Detective Gomez nodded, his expression professional, though it was clear he was deeply affected by her story. You did the right thing, Anna. You were very brave to seek help. As the detective jotted down a few notes, Dr. Ramirez approached Anna gently. Anna, how are you feeling now? He asked, his tone kind and steady. Dr. Ramirez knelt beside Anna, his voice soft and filled with concern. How are you feeling, sweetheart? Do you need to rest? Anna shook her head. I'm okay. I just want to know what's going to happen now. Detective Gomez, putting away his notebook, looked at her seriously but kindly. Anna, we're going to do everything we can to keep you safe. Your stepfather won't be able to hurt you ever again. Anna's voice trembled slightly as she asked, And my mom? The detective exchanged a quick glance with Elena, who had just entered the room. It was the social worker who answered. Anna, we haven't been able to find your mom yet, but I promise we're doing everything we can to locate her and understand the full situation. Anna nodded slowly, her gaze dropping to Miguel, who was still sleeping peacefully in her arms. After a pause, she asked, Can I stay here at the hospital? I feel safe here. Dr. Ramirez offered her a tender smile. For now, yes, you'll stay here, but eventually we'll need to find a more permanent place for you and Miguel. Will we be separated? Anna asked, fear evident in her voice. Elena stepped closer, her voice calm but firm. Anna, the situation is complicated. You're very young to take care of a baby on your own, but I promise we'll do everything we can to make sure both you and Miguel are safe and well cared for. Anna seemed to think about this for a moment before speaking again. Can I learn to take care of him better? I want to be a good mom to Miguel. The room fell silent, the weight of her words touching everyone. Lucia was the first to speak, her voice full of warmth and emotion. Anna, sweetheart, you're already a wonderful mom. You care about Miguel and want the best for him. That's what matters most. Dr. Martinez added gently, Anna, it's natural for you to want to take care of Miguel, but it's also important to remember that you're still a child. You need the chance to grow, to learn, and to play. You don't have to carry all the responsibility alone. Anna nodded slowly, though it was clear the thought of being separated from Miguel frightened her. But will I still get to see him, even if he doesn't live with me? Elena smiled warmly. We'll do everything we can to make sure you can keep a relationship with Miguel, Anna. But for now, let's focus on making sure both of you are healthy and safe. Okay? The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur of activity. Doctors, nurses, and social workers came and went, tending to Anna and Miguel's immediate needs. Exhausted from the emotional toll of the day, Anna eventually fell asleep with Miguel resting peacefully in his crib beside her bed. Outside the room, the medical and legal teams gathered to discuss the next steps. "The case is clear," Detective Gomez said firmly. "This is child abuse, assault of a minor, and neglect by the mother. We'll prosecute the stepfather to the fullest extent of the law." "And the mother?" Dr. Ramirez asked. Elena sighed heavily. "We still haven't been able to locate her, but given the circumstances, it's unlikely she'll retain custody of Anna." "What will happen to Anna and Miguel?" Lucia asked, having joined the conversation after ensuring both children were asleep. "For now, they'll remain at the hospital," Elena explained. "We're looking for a foster family that can manage this unique situation, ideally one that can take in both Anna and Miguel, at least temporarily." Dr. Martinez added, "Anna will need intensive therapy. She's been through severe trauma, and it's going to take a long time for her to recover." Dr. Ramirez nodded. "We'll also need to closely monitor their health. Anna is far too young to have gone through childbirth. We need to ensure there are no long-term complications." As the team continued discussing the logistics of the case in the quiet of Anna's room, she stirred in her sleep, her hand unconsciously reaching out toward Miguel's crib. Even in her dreams, her protective instinct over the baby was strong. Night fell over the hospital, bringing with it a temporary calm. But everyone involved knew this was only the beginning. The days and weeks ahead would bring more challenges, tougher decisions, and hopefully the start of a new and safer chapter for Anna and Miguel. The beginning of a healing process for Anna and Miguel had just started. Lucia, who had volunteered for the night shift, sat in a chair beside Anna's bed, watching over the girl and her baby as they slept. As she gazed at their peaceful faces, she felt a bittersweet mix of sadness and hope. "They're going to be okay," she murmured to herself, like a quiet promise. "We'll make sure of it." Outside the hospital room, life continued as normal, unaware of the life-altering drama unfolding within its walls. Inside, Anna and Miguel slept, unaware of the decisions being made about their future, the lives they had touched, and the challenges that still lay ahead. Though the second day was coming to an end, Anna and Miguel's story was far from over. As the night wore on, a sense of determination settled among everyone involved. They were committed to ensuring a better future for these two children, no matter the obstacles they might face. The dawn of the third day at San Rafael General Hospital brought with it a sense of nervous anticipation. Word of Anna and Miguel's case had spread among the staff, and while everyone maintained their professionalism, it was clear the story had deeply affected them. Lucia, who had stayed up all night caring for Anna and Miguel, was relieved by Carmen, another nurse who had been following the case closely. "How was the night?" Carmen asked softly as Lucia handed her the night's report. Lucia sighed, running a tired hand through her hair. "It was relatively calm. Anna had a nightmare around 3 a.m., but I managed to calm her down without waking Miguel." Carmen nodded, her face reflecting both compassion and determination. "Thank you, Lucia. Go get some rest. I'll take it from here." As Lucia left the room, Dr. Ramirez arrived for his morning rounds. He looked exhausted, but his eyes were sharp with concern. "Good morning, Carmen," he greeted quietly. "How are our special patients this morning?" "They're still sleeping, Doctor," Carmen replied. "Anna had a restless night, but Miguel has been peaceful." Dr. Ramirez nodded and walked over to the bed where Anna slept. She looked small and fragile under the hospital's white sheets. Next to her, in a crib, Miguel slept soundly. "They're going to have a busy day," he murmured to himself. "Social services will be here to discuss the next steps, and the police need to ask a few more questions." Just then, Anna began to stir. Her eyes opened slowly, and for a moment she looked disoriented. Then, the reality of her situation seemed to hit her, and her eyes filled with tears. "Good morning, Anna," Dr. Ramirez said gently, approaching the bed. How are you feeling this morning? Anna sat up slowly, her eyes immediately searching for Miguel. Seeing the baby sleeping peacefully in his crib, she relaxed a little. I'm okay, she replied quietly. Is Miguel okay? Carmen stepped forward with a warm smile. He's perfectly fine, sweetheart. He slept through the night. Anna nodded, though it was clear something was still troubling her. Noticing her unease, Dr. Ramirez sat on the edge of the bed. Anna, he began softly, some people are coming today to talk with you and us about what happens next. I know it might feel scary, but I want you to know we're all here to help you, okay? Anna nodded slowly, her eyes filled with unspoken questions. After a moment, she whispered, Are they going to take Miguel away? Dr. Ramirez gently took her hand. Anna, the situation is complicated. You're very young to care for a baby on your own, but I promise we'll do everything we can to make sure both you and Miguel are safe and well cared for. At that moment, Miguel began to cry softly. Anna immediately leaned toward the crib, her face full of concern. He's hungry, she said, surprising the adults with her intuition. Carmen smiled and moved toward the crib. You're right, Anna. Would you like to help me prepare his bottle? Anna's eyes lit up at the suggestion, and for a moment, she seemed to forget her worries. She eagerly joined Carmen, helping to feed Miguel. In those moments, her focus shifted to the baby she was determined to care for, her love for him shining through. By midday, Anna and Miguel's day of conversations and decisions about their future had only just begun. That morning, Elena, the social worker, arrived accompanied by a woman Anna didn't recognize. Dr. Ramirez met them outside the room. Good morning, Elena, the doctor greeted. How's everything going? Elena sighed, her face showing signs of fatigue. It's been a long night, doctor, but I think we have good news. This is Mrs. Martinez, one of our most experienced foster parents. Mrs. Martinez, a middle-aged woman with a kind smile, extended her hand. It's a pleasure, doctor. I've heard a lot about Anna and Miguel. Dr. Ramirez nodded, a spark of hope in his eyes. Are they considering fostering both of them? Elena nodded. Mrs. Martinez and her husband are willing to foster both Anna and Miguel, at least temporarily. They've worked with children in complex situations before, and we believe they could be a great fit. The relief on Dr. Ramirez's face was evident. That's excellent news. But first, we need to talk to Anna. She's been through a lot, and we need to handle this carefully. The three entered the room, where Anna was sitting on the bed, holding Miguel as Carmen showed her how to change his diaper. Elena spoke softly. Anna, there's someone here who would like to meet you. Anna looked up, her eyes moving cautiously between Elena and Mrs. Martinez, a mix of curiosity and apprehension in her expression. Mrs. Martinez stepped forward with a warm smile. Hello, Anna. I'm Isabel Martinez. I've heard so much about you and Miguel. Anna instinctively held Miguel tighter. Are they going to take him away? She asked, her voice trembling with fear. Elena quickly reassured her. No, Anna. Mrs. Martinez is here to talk about the possibility of you and Miguel living with her and her family for a little while. Anna's eyes widened in surprise. Together? She asked. Mrs. Martinez nodded and sat gently on the edge of the bed. Yes, sweetheart. My husband and I have a big house with plenty of space. We've helped take care of children who have been through difficult times, just like you. Anna seemed to process this information for a moment before asking hesitantly, But will I still be able to take care of Miguel? Mrs. Martinez smiled kindly. Of course, Anna. You'll still help take care of Miguel, but we also want you to have the chance to be a child, to play, to learn, and to grow. As the conversation continued, Dr. Ramirez observed Anna closely. It was clear she was experiencing a mixture of emotions, fear, hope, and confusion. Anna, the doctor said gently, I know this is a lot to think about. Do you have any questions for Mrs. Martinez? Anna bit her lip, thinking carefully. Finally, in a trembling voice, she asked, What if my mom looks for me? The room fell into a brief, tense silence before Elena responded. Anna, we're still trying to find your mom, but for now, the most important thing is to make sure you and Miguel are safe and cared for. Mrs. Martinez added gently, and if your mom looks for you, we'll work together to decide what's best for you and Miguel. Your safety and well-being are the most important things. Anna nodded slowly, though it was clear she still had lingering concerns. Just then, Miguel began to stir in her arms, as if sensing the tension in the room. It's okay, Anna murmured softly, rocking him gently. The way she instinctively calmed Miguel didn't go unnoticed by the adults. Dr. Ramirez exchanged a glance with Elena before addressing Anna. Anna, how would you feel if Mrs. Martinez came to visit you over the next few days? That way you can get to know her better and ask her any questions you'd like. Anna hesitated briefly, then nodded shyly. Okay, she said quietly. Mrs. Martinez smiled warmly at Anna's shy response. I'd love that, Anna. And if you'd like, I can bring you some books or games to keep you entertained while you're in the hospital. For the first time since the conversation began, a small smile appeared on Anna's face. Really? Could you bring books about angels? Like Miguel? Mrs. Martinez nodded, visibly touched. Of course, sweetheart. I'll find the best books about angels for you. As the conversation continued, the room's atmosphere gradually shifted. Though Anna was still cautious, she seemed more open to the idea of Mrs. Martinez and her family. Outside the room, Detective Gomez waited to speak with Dr. Ramirez and Elena. How's it going? The detective asked quietly. Dr. Ramirez sighed. It's a slow process, but I think we're making progress. Mrs. Martinez seems like a good fit for both Anna and Miguel. Elena nodded in agreement. There's still a lot to do, but it's a promising start. Any updates on Anna's mother or stepfather? Detective Gomez frowned. We still haven't located her mother. As for the stepfather, we have him in custody. He was arrested last night while trying to cross the border. The news brought a mixture of relief and concern. While the immediate threat to Anna was removed, the stepfather's arrest meant the case would soon enter a new, potentially painful phase for Anna. When will Anna need to testify? Dr. Ramirez asked, his worry evident. We're doing everything we can to avoid having Anna go through a trial, Detective Gomez assured him. With the medical evidence and the confession we're working on obtaining, we might be able to spare her that trauma. Elena sighed with relief. That would be best. Anna has already been through so much. While the adults discussed the legal aspects of the case inside the room, Mrs. Martinez was gently easing Anna's concerns. She had taken out her phone and was showing Anna pictures of her home and garden. We have a swing in the backyard, Mrs. Martinez explained, and lots of flowers. Do you like flowers, Anna? Anna nodded shyly. I like sunflowers. They're big and bright. Mrs. Martinez smiled. What a coincidence. We have a beautiful sunflower garden. Maybe you could help me take care of them when you come to live with us. For the first time since arriving at the hospital, Anna's eyes lit up with a flicker of hope. Could I really do that? Of course, sweetheart, Mrs. Martinez replied warmly. And if you'd like, you can help me cook too. Do you like cooking? Anna shook her head. I've never cooked before, but I'd like to learn. Their conversation continued, with Mrs. Martinez patiently describing life at her home, answering all of Anna's questions, and reassuring her that both she and Miguel would be welcomed and cared for. As the day went on, the hospital staff couldn't help but notice a small but significant change in Anna. Though she was still clearly scared and uncertain, a faint spark of hope glimmered in her eyes. Near sunset, as Mrs. Martinez prepared to leave, Anna surprised everyone by asking, When could we go to your house?" Her voice was quiet, as though she was afraid of the answer. Mrs. Martinez looked at Dr. Ramirez, who gave her a subtle nod. "Well, Anna," Mrs. Martinez replied with a kind smile, "that depends on what Dr. Ramirez says. We need to make sure you and Miguel are strong enough to leave the hospital. But I promise, as soon as the doctor says you're ready, my husband and I will come to take you home." Anna nodded, a small smile forming on her lips. "Thank you," she murmured softly. As Mrs. Martinez left, promising to return the next day with books about angels, Dr. Ramirez approached Anna. "How are you feeling, Anna?" he asked gently. Anna looked at Miguel, who was sleeping peacefully in her arms, before answering. "I'm scared," she admitted, "but I think Mrs. Martinez is nice, and I want Miguel to be safe." Dr. Ramirez smiled tenderly at her response. "That's very mature of you, Anna. And you're right. Mrs. Martinez seems like a very good person. We're doing everything we can to make sure you and Miguel are safe and happy." Anna nodded, her gaze fixed on the sleeping baby. After a pause, she asked softly, "Doctor, do you think I'm a bad person for wanting to keep Miguel?" "I know I'm really young," Anna whispered, her voice trembling, "but I don't want to let him go." Dr. Ramirez's heart ached at her words. He sat on the edge of the bed, choosing his words carefully. "Anna, listen to me," he began gently. "You are not a bad person. Not at all. The love you feel for Miguel is beautiful and pure. But you're right, you're still very young. Your job now is to grow, to learn, and to heal. And we'll make sure Miguel stays in your life while you do all of that." Tears began to roll down Anna's cheeks. "I'm afraid he'll forget me," she whispered. Dr. Ramirez reached for her hand, his tone reassuring. "That won't happen, Anna. Mrs. Martinez already said you'll be a part of Miguel's life, and we'll make sure that happens." Just then, Lucia entered the room, returning for her afternoon shift. Seeing Anna's tear-streaked face, she immediately came over and sat on the other side of the bed. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" Lucia asked softly. Anna sobbed quietly, her emotions spilling out. "I'm scared, Lucia. Everything is changing, and I don't know what's going to happen." Lucia gently wrapped her arms around Anna, mindful of the baby cradled in her arms. "Oh, my dear, it's normal to be scared," she said soothingly. "But look at how many people are here to help you. Dr. Ramirez, me, Mrs. Martinez, Elena. We all want what's best for you and Miguel." Anna leaned into Lucia's embrace, finally allowing herself to cry openly for the first time since arriving at the hospital. Dr. Ramirez and Lucia exchanged concerned glances, but both knew this release was necessary, even healthy. After a few minutes, Anna's sobs subsided, and she wiped her tears with her free hand. Remarkably, Miguel had slept through the entire episode. "I'm sorry," Anna murmured, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment. "You have nothing to apologize for," Lucia said kindly, gently stroking Anna's hair. "Sometimes crying is exactly what we need." Dr. Ramirez nodded in agreement. "Anna, you've been incredibly strong, but it's okay not to be strong all the time. We're here to support you." At that moment, Miguel began to stir, making soft, fussy noises. Anna's attention immediately shifted to the baby. "I think he's hungry," she said, her focus completely on Miguel. Lucia smiled. "You're probably right. Do you want me to get a bottle ready?" Anna nodded, gently rocking Miguel while Lucia went to prepare his meal. Dr. Ramirez watched with admiration as Anna, despite her own pain and fear, focused entirely on Miguel's needs. "Anna," the doctor said softly, Do you know how extraordinary you are?" Anna looked up at him, startled. "Me?" Dr. Ramirez nodded with a warm smile. "Yes, you. You've been through something no child should ever have to experience, and yet here you are, caring for Miguel with so much love and dedication. That's extraordinary." Anna blushed slightly at the compliment. "I just want him to be okay," she murmured. "And he will be," Dr. Ramirez assured her, "thanks to you." Lucia returned with the bottle and handed it to Anna, who began feeding Miguel with surprising skill. "You're doing great," Lucia said with an encouraging smile. Anna smiled shyly. "Carmen taught me. She says I'm a quick learner." As Miguel ate, Dr. Ramirez decided it was time to address something he had been hesitant to bring up. "Anna," he began carefully, "there's something I need to tell you. The police, they found your stepfather." Anna froze, her body visibly tensing. Her eyes widened with fear. Is he coming here?" she asked, her voice trembling. No, the doctor quickly reassured her. "He's in police custody. He can't hurt you ever again." Anna seemed to process the information, her gaze dropping to Miguel as she absorbed the weight of the news. "What's going to happen now?" she asked quietly. Dr. Ramirez sighed. "There will be a legal process, but we're doing everything we can to make sure you don't have to be too involved. Your job now is to focus on healing and taking care of yourself and Miguel." Lucia added gently, "And we'll be here to help you every step of the way." Anna nodded slowly, though it was clear the news had shaken her. Miguel, having finished his bottle, squirmed in her arms, making soft, fussy noises. "I think he needs to burp," Anna said, her attention instinctively shifting back to the baby. Lucia chuckled softly. "You're probably right. Let me show you how to help him." Anna's voice broke the silence as she observed Miguel stirring in her arms. "I think he needs to burp," she said, her maternal instincts shining through once again. Lucia smiled warmly. "You're absolutely right. Would you like me to show you how to do it?" Anna nodded eagerly, and Lucia patiently guided her on how to gently place Miguel over her shoulder and softly pat his back. Dr. Ramirez watched the scene unfold with a bittersweet mixture of admiration and sadness, fully aware of the complexities these two children were navigating together. As the afternoon wore on, more hospital staff stopped by Anna's room. Some came under the pretense of medical checkups, while others simply wanted to say hello. It was evident that Anna and Miguel's story had deeply touched everyone in the hospital. Carmen, who had finished her shift hours earlier, returned with a small package in her hands. "Hi, Anna," she greeted with a cheerful smile. "I brought you something." Anna looked at the package with wide eyes. "For me?" she asked, her voice tinged with curiosity. Carmen nodded and handed her the gift. Anna carefully opened it, revealing a small photo album. "I thought you might want to keep some memories of Miguel," Carmen explained. "I've included some pictures I've taken of the two of you over the past few days. There's also space for many more." Anna's eyes filled with tears as she flipped through the album. The pages featured moments of her feeding Miguel, cradling him as he slept peacefully and gazing at him with pure love. "Thank you," Anna whispered, clutching the album to her chest. "It's beautiful." Carmen's heartfelt gesture seemed to open the floodgates. Over the next few hours, other staff members brought small tokens of affection. One nurse gifted Miguel a soft teddy bear, while another brought Anna a storybook. Even the cleaning staff joined in, bringing colorful drawings made by their children to decorate Anna's room. Dr. Ramirez watched all of this with quiet pride and emotion, moved by how the hospital community had come together to support Anna and Miguel. By the end of the day, Anna's room was transformed. The sterile, impersonal medical space was now filled with colors, toys, books, and most importantly, an overwhelming sense of love. Exhausted, but visibly more at ease than in the past few days, Ana prepared for bed. Lucia helped her settle in, ensuring Miguel was comfortable in his crib. "Lucia," Ana murmured sleepily, her voice barely audible. "Do you think everything's going to be okay?" Lucia smiled gently, brushing a strand of hair from Ana's face. "Yes, sweetheart. I believe everything will be okay. You have so many people who love and support you, and you're stronger than you realize." Ana nodded softly, her eyelids growing heavy. "Thank you," she whispered before drifting off to sleep. Lucia stayed by her bedside for a moment longer, watching as Ana and Miguel rested peacefully. Quietly, she stepped out of the room and found Dr. Ramirez waiting in the hallway. "How are they?" he asked in a low voice. "Asleep," Lucia replied with a tired but content smile. "It's been a long day, but I think it's been a good one for Ana. She needed to feel this much love and support." Dr. Ramirez nodded, his gaze drifting toward the window at the end of the hall. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. "You know," he said thoughtfully, "when Ana first came in 3 days ago, I feared the worst. But seeing her now and seeing how everyone has come together to help her, it gives me hope." Lucia nodded in agreement. "It's amazing how a little girl and a baby can bring so many people together. And that's exactly what they'll need in the days ahead," Dr. Ramirez added. "The road won't be easy, but at least they won't have to face it alone." As the sun dipped below the horizon, marking the end of the 3rd day, both Lucia and Dr. Ramirez stood silently, reflecting on the whirlwind of events. Inside the room, Ana slept soundly for the first time since arriving at the hospital, with Miguel resting peacefully in his crib nearby. Though the future was uncertain, there was a newfound sense of hope in the air. With the right care, love, and support, these 2 children had a chance to overcome whatever challenges lay ahead. The 3rd day was ending, but Ana and Miguel's journey was far from over. What they now had, however, was something they didn't before: a family. Not one defined by blood, but by heart. A family ready to fight for them and ensure they had a chance at a bright and love-filled future.